G'day, I'm back. And once again, I am the host, V-Line Bus, who has once again forgotten to change what things are called, because this is B East, not C West, because we have team name. Yes, that is indeed the team name, facing off against Citrus Colored Squash, who apparently has a thing against maps beginning with B, because they banned out both Braxis and Battlefield. But no, that does leave team name branding out the Tomb was picked. I don't know who actually picked Tomb with Spider Queen, but it was the one picked. We see that team name banned out Towers of Doom, as well as Dragonshy, which, look, once again, disappointed. I do want to see more Dragonshy this season, teams. It is a fun one. I don't know why you guys dislike it so heavily, but that is fine. It's fine. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. However, we are going to be getting into the game in a few moments. I am opening things up now, and we will see that I do like Tomb of Spider Queen. I do like to cast, I should say. I really am not comfortable on the map itself, but casting it is definitely enjoyable for me. But we're preparing ourselves for battle. As the battle begins shortly, I should say, as we're going to get into the game, shall we? As people are giving a good old good luck, have fun to each other, shaking each other's hands, being all nice and polite, which I do love. But we do see on the side of Team Name, we have Majesty on the Uber, Double Life is on the Junkrat, Patience on the Oreo, Leo Rice on the actual man himself, Stitches. Oh, and Duff McWhalen is on the Gul'dan. On the other side, we do have T3 Cat on the... What is that name again? Genji, Stoic on the Brightwing, Lamort on the Chromie, Ace on the Hogger, and rounding things out is Mesos on the... I can't remember her name. Oh, its name, Anubrak. There we go, Grimba in the end. We do see Leo Rice, and actually a rough spot, getting body blocked, there's no room to escape. Genji is also trapped in the Hogger Horde. That was a very jittery Genji. That Genji seemed to be like 12 coffees deep and ready to go. They woke up in the morning, realized they got 5 minutes to catch their bus to work. Just down, like, they just ate coffee straight out of a jar. They just ate, like, a handful of coffee beans. And, like, not even one handful, like 4 handfuls of coffee beans and just booked it out the door. Not even chocolate coffee ones. Not even chocolate coated ones, but just straight coffee beans. Also, I should note Stitches to go down the end there. Phase shift going out. Mesos being topped up. And we now have better, I will have to say, Team Name does have better wave clear. That is the thing that Team Name has going for them. They're able to clear and move away. However, there is a good dive from Citrus Colored Swatch where if Mesos and T-Cat do jump on someone, there is a high chance they just kind of perish. Because it can happen. But there is also the Chromie Sands just will be throwing things in there as well. So there isn't just the full dive there, there is still some sustained poke that Chromie can supply. Speaking of Chromie, we do see they actually went the only thing not a quest at level 1, they went Time Walker's Pursuit and they did pick up the multiple hourglasses because vision on this map is king. Other things to note is we do have Drain build Gul'dan and Stun build Ufa, but because it is a double healer composition, the Stitches is the offlaner, which I do have a good old PowerPoint about offlane Stitches called Alright Bitches, Let's Talk About Stitches. That's a fun one. But we do now see that Ufa went down mid. Very unfortunate. Of all people, it's not the worst to lose, but not ideal. Losing someone at this point either way. Right, nice stun there by Mesos. They're looking to go back in. They're considering a dive. Maybe now T-Cat is here, but both teams have fours. Ufa is gone, which means you are actually able to kill things a little bit easier. But with that spell armor, with that Knight? Mage? What is this called technically? Yeah, it is a mage. It is much harder to kill things, which I'm just going to leave my mouse on there because it will die eventually. T-Cat does dash out. Duff McWhalen doesn't quite have a range to take them out, but they have enough. Let's just click this menu because it goes first. Yep, there we go. Mesos and T-Cat are going to be resetting. Brightwing all the while was getting Soak and Gems, which we do see there is a distinct gem advantage now over to the side of Citrus Colored Squash. Also, Hogger did get bottom camp in the meantime there, which Double Life and Leo Rice are going to be doing their best to clear wave, and that camp Majesty is going to be in firing line. Does get a hammer onto Mesos, however, Mesos was invulnerable at the time. Genji wasn't with the team, so there is that little bit of a ending, that little bit of kill potential missing because Genji was nowhere near the team. Nice stun by Majesty and good follow-up whip by Patience. That is still a lot of damage coming out on top of it too. TK, however, got a lot of damage thrown on them because Duff McWhalen hit a very good corruption that forces TK out. Also fighting more and more as the season's going on. We're getting like an Ufa tank with a tank in the offlane. I don't hate it as a thing. I actually really enjoy seeing it. But it's interesting to see that we're seeing tank in the offlane like Joanna, like Blaze, like ETC, and now like Stitches as well. Ooh, nice jump by T-Cat because Leo Rice had the right line to hook him. Just T-Cat was barely out of range, which that may be in a very different story if we were at the level 13s where Stitches does get the extended hook. Lamort does get the last of it turn, and they had it exactly 12 of the 12 missing from that 38 out of 50. And now we can see Web Weavers will be descending. So what are we going to get here from Citrus Colored Squash? I hope we have a good objective phase for them. Mesos very aggressive compared to the rest of the team, dropping some beetles. And looks like they want to control the mid lane, which means they are a little bit more vision orientated this map. But they may just be basing the team here just to go top, hard to tell. T-Cat does jump in, Majesty taking a decent amount, but they do have the good old armor to keep them alive. Genji got aggressive for Patience, and that is T-Cat's demise. Mesos gets pushed in, and that will also be an awkward spot for the bug. Does get into wall, does get stunned by the Ufa. And just like that, what was going well suddenly turned into not going well as Lamort and Stoic are forced to back up. Double Life wanted to get the damage onto 2 but was unable to. Brightwing does phase shift onto Mort, who still taps anyway to just, in spite of Stoic. No, not in spite of Stoic, but they did want the mana topped up. And they're now realizing if Double Life is up here, they can't necessarily come up as well. Meanwhile, Hogger is bottom, trying to get what they can, and realizing they may have sold out a little bit, but actually had a very ideal bounce. Bounces through Patience, is still in an awkward spot, does drop the Horde, does get a stun onto Patience somehow for it, dodges the whip. We see T-Cat is now here to help deal with the Oriole, and Mesos wants a piece of the action, and it looks like Patience will be the target. Gul'dan doing their best to feed them energy, but that's still in an awkward spot for them. We see the deflect coming out, and Leo Rice is getting rewound. A little bit awkward, not quite there on the timing for Lamort, but he is still threatening Leo Rice at least, who does get stunned. And that's 22 gems going down just like that. We need to make sure no one jumps in to try grab him. We can see Mesos holding the area, making sure no one can get those 22 gems. That very much was, oh, you got 2 of us before? Time to get a few of you back, as they just managed to kill a chain of 3 people over quite an extended period, but still within long enough for me to consider that a chain kill almost. 10s are through for Citrus Colored Squash. We do see Kakuna, Nubrak, we do see the X-Strike, Genji, Blinkkill, Brightwing, the Shockwave Hogger, and Temporal Loop on the Chromie, which I always want to call it Rewind, but that's not the talent. I'm pretty sure Rewind is actually... I think Rewind's for level 16 for Chromie, the activatable. Polymorph coming out to Majesty. Majesty very much wanted to step in, but is not allowed to. They're going to step back up now. Does Q Stoic. They did go Holy Shock, which is interesting with the stun build. Nice engage, but good disruption by... Ooh. X-Strike coming out. I was going to say good disruption there by the Junkrat. Majesty does get to live because they did pop D-Shield on themselves. Mesos taking this amount. Oh, right. Rewind is that. What am I on about? I should know this. Fucking Anubrak gets Rewind. Anubrak is like one of the best heroes for Rewind. Speaking of Anubrak, we do see them get hooked and gorged. They're not going to quite get as far as they want with Mesos. Mesos does still get pushed into the wall. That whip does very well in Oriole sometimes. And there is just a heavy push coming out of this camp, as both teams are pretty similar on gem count, but it is... I think they're almost equidistant away from each other in terms of the actual turn-in itself. I'll also note 10's fully through. I didn't talk about them all for the side of team name because we did see the Gorge, we did see the Reptile, Crystal Aegis. It did Leo Rice potentially. Yep, there it is. We also see the D-Shield on Ufa, which is coming back up still. And last but certainly not least is Horrify on Gul'dan, which Horrify is a very good ability, which it's kind of a shame because as fun as Reign of Vengeance is, not Reign of Vengeance, as what is this? Hell Rain? Rainfire? Rain of Hellfire? meme. As fun as Gul'dan's other heroic is, which can still get a decent amount done, especially at level 20 with a slot, it's kind of insane. It's just not as good as Horrify and Haunt, respectively. Both those talents are incredibly good. But we see Web Weaver talents will be picked up and be pushing in. You know what, Voriel, now I say that as a talent, there are also... I do want to make sure that Chromie talent. But it's interesting to think there are heroes, 2 heroes in the game with the same ability name. Both Mei and Jaina both have Blizzard. Which I think is very interesting in that regard, considering not often things are falling. And thank you for following, Booze. I hope you're doing well today. Right, we're seeing a lot of sand coming out now as Chromie is doing her damnedest to make things difficult for the other side of Team Name. We do see the rewind coming out, but that's already a relatively safe cooldown. And we see Queen's coming out on Ufa, so it's not really too much of a threat. But I would like to see the team stay top. I would like to see Citrus Colored Swash stay top and actually keep pushing, which we do see that happen. Majesty does get hit by Mesos. Mesos, however, does get stunned for the efforts. It does happen, yeah. I think that's the only example of skills being called the same thing. I don't know about talents, but I think that's the only example of skills. Yeah. I'm going to ignore activatables like Rewind for that, because these are just like baseline. You have that W. Both their Ws are called Blizzard. Jaina has Blizzard on her W with that big circle damage, and Mei has the big stun circle on their W as well, also called Blizzard. Oh, we see Lamort getting a lot of damage out. Majesty taking a decent amount. You can see Rewind on the Ufa. Ufa does drop D shield, so we're not going to be too fussed about that. Leo Rice does gorge the Brightwing, but Brightwing honestly is probably going to be fine. They do blink heal up, but we can see that the Junkrat was taken out. Poor Rubbish Rodent had much more life to live. Nice Horrified by Duff McWhalen. We can now see that Patience is going to try their best to scrap out of this. Cooldown is gone, which means Patience's battery is finally ran out, and that will be them going down as well. Which Hogger's looking to steal this camp now, which is fine. The rest of the team going to be pushing a building. And Hogger is just spinning over the side where the rest of the team pushes, and Leo Rice is gone. You know what? I can't actually deal with that. And Junkrat is only just making their way out of court now, which is insane. Insane what's happening. Team Name, because they have something such as Stitches, they have a pick hero. As long as Stitches is alive, there is a chance for it to get turned around. If Stitches hits one good hook, even with a 3 lethal deficit, there can still be a quick turnaround that can absolutely make things hell for them. But Leo Rice, in saying that, is going to take a lot of damage in the meantime. Get really low, but we can see Genji went down actually. Which, I don't know how they witnessed. Whipped into the well, that's right. Which, very unfortunate for Genji, but very good. If your Team Name, they go for the hook. Brightwing does actually use phase out there. Not often you do see it, but into Stitches, it makes sense. Just a quick dodge talent is always good. What's that talent called? Quantum Overdrive. That is the Infinite Blessing of Bronze is the other talent I'm thinking of at 16. Slam coming up from Leo Rice, making sure no one's there to kill them. Anubrak, however, is going to stall. Gets it with a hammer for the efforts. Gets a little bit of holy shockage on them. Hook coming out, and we see Brightwing effectively dodging through it once again. Trap set up, making sure no one can step in. Majesty and Leo Rice going to try turn in. Leo Rice does have turn in by themselves. There's a nice stun there by the Anubrak, however, no kill onto Leo Rice. No, they could stop Leo Rice, but another person did. Which Hogger has somehow managed to make themselves into a small infinite in a tight little corridor. There goes the D shield. It may have been smart to drop it into Leo Rice as they were trying to drop in. Because you can actually Divine Shield the... Yep, smart. Good Queens. As I say, you can actually Divine Shield someone as they're turning in to stop them being interruptible. You can see Genji goes down once again. They're starting to get quite a few picks on that Genji because they miss a lot of immobility. Phase shift, phase out, unfortunately not quite long enough for the Brightwing, but we can see that it is the... What's his name? Junkrat going down. Now Majesty is in a rough place, but no, it's the Chromie going down first. Now it's just a 2v4. Hogger spins out to safety. Duff McWhalen gets a nice hit onto Ace. Ace is trying to get out. Slow down now. They're going to see if they can stop them. Nook does spin. Gets an awkward stop. They are in trouble. They push him into a wall. That's a holy shock. That is the Hogger getting no, there's a Hogger getting killed. Sure went down a Holy Shock, but definitely Majesty, not Majesty. Duff McWhalen on that cooldown did the work there. And just Ufa kill steals right at the end. Man, these... I was about to make a League joke, but I realized I know not enough at all about League. Blue Web Weavers are descending. They do make their way top, wanting to open up boss lane. The thing to note is they are very far back in the lane, so not the easiest time for them to push into things. Which we realize now, the Stitches has gone back to deal with the spiders behind them, meaning this Web Weaver will be pushing much higher than it was about to, which, good play. It looks like we have a little bit of split attention, but it will be Citrus Colored Squash going top first to deal with that Web Weaver. We obviously Genji is mid to see if they can help slow down that wave, but realistically there's not too much they can do to slow it down, because if they get whipped by the Oriole and stunned by the Hammerman Uther, that is a dead weeb. Mesos does burrow out to safety, does get a nice little pierce with that stun, doesn't take anyone down with it, but does do a little bit of damage and a little bit of interrupt. And Chromie Orvwell trying to clear the objective, and they did go the Piercing Sand, which, why wouldn't you? It's Piercing Sand. You get to throw sand at more people at once. You'd see stun coming out onto Mesos. Mesos taking a decent amount for the effort. That is the Cocoon going out onto the Stitches, and once again, Cleanse being used on the time looped target. Temporal loop target, say. Majesty stuck between a rock and a hard place. Unfortunately, the hard place did die, but so did the Uther. Leo Rice and Duff McWhalen, the last ones left. That push by Ace a little bit awkward did ruin Duff Mort's damage, but no, they still get the kill there. Leo Rice trying to see what they can do. And with the 3 heroes left, they can do a little bit of core damage, but I don't think they can end. They can get boss, they can turn in. Those are both very good options for them. But looks like they're just going to be prepping waves. Chromie wants to get some Falling Sands top to see if they can poke it down a little bit. You can see it slowly dropping, and the rest of the team of Ace and Stoic falling in after them. Hook doesn't quite find anything. Phase out used by Stoic. Anyway, what's the cooldown of phase out? 20 seconds, yeah. It's something you can quickly tap and be fine. We do see Rewind picked up on the Anubrak, which is why I was honestly saying Rewind for half the game when I was thinking of Chromie. Other things to note is we do have Extract Genji. Fairy protects the Brightwing. The Hogger went Anger Management, which, fair enough. Some people do need anger management. Hogger, one of those ones with a fiery temper who goes, ah! Other thing to note is the Piercing Sands on Chromie. We're still a level and a little bit off, just a level now off for team name, so they will be there soon, but they need to hope they get through this objective before we get to the point where that, well, they need to hope they get through this objective so they can get that 20s. Because when 20s come through, it's very likely we can see a turnaround there, but it just is not necessarily going to happen. They need to survive this first. Burrow charge by Mesos doesn't find anything. They get stunned, they get taunted, they get horrified, they get... I think I said taunted, don't know why, they can't taunt. They did get a lot of damage out on top of him, but there's a nice X-Strike reset as that is 2 people down. Gorge coming out onto Leo Rice, but they'll be fine. Ufa, however, will not. Duff McWhalen gets safely home as Genji is deposited away from them. Hook onto Stoic. Stoic didn't dodge that one, but the core, however, will not dodge all the damage, and it will go down. Now, first game of the series going over the side of Citrus Colored Squash. GG's called by both sides. And I realized for C and colored I have as lowercase, and that just upset me. Also, I realized you guys don't spell colored with a U, so let me fix that as well. Because it's colored, not colored for Americans. Which, don't ask me to do American accent. I realized I was about to do it, and then I'm like, actually, that's just bad. I am not good at accents by any means. Sure, I have one of my own, but by no means that means I'm good at others. Right, so looking at stats, we do see Stoic did a... I'm not doing Canadian either, to be fair. Stoic did a lot of healing, did out-heal both the Oriole and Oof, wait. Yeah, barely out-healed both the Oriole and Ufa, but they were solo healing. And the side of Citrus Colored Squash... Okay. Fair enough then. I saw a lot of people... A lot of NGS people are North American, a lot of them American in particular. It is a North American league based in America, I believe. So that's why it is. Some names are like colored because the team is colored without a U on the website. In terms of hero damage, you see Hogger have the most. Followed closely by Chromie and Genji not too far away. Gul'dan definitely did their job as the main damage of... As one of the main damage dealers of Citrus Skull Squash. Absolutely killing it there with 68k damage, 128k siege compared to Chromie's 124k siege and the Hogwarts 120k siege. But Junkrat was just a little bit further off. They didn't quite have that extra damage dealer. But good to know. But I guess you are also part of a Commonwealth Varial in Canada, so that would make sense. In terms of talents, everything looks relatively standard here. The thing that stood out to me most was Phase Out from the Brightwing, which is a fair enough talent there. And what I'm going to do is throw it onto the map view screen. I'm going to have to put myself on a quick little break. I'll just be 2 ticks. I'm just filling up my water. I do need a bunch of water so I don't die mid-cast, because that's probably not the best if I lose my voice, considering in my job I have to talk a bunch. So let me throw it onto the map view screen. We're going to have a look at what map we're going to have. And I'm going to put on some music and mute myself for a few moments when I pull up that map. And I'll be back soon after I fill up my water. So catch you all in a few as we are going next to Garden of Terror. There are indeed seatbelts on the line bus fiction. At least for the driver. Right, now I actually have paused me to save again. There are some seatbelts on the line bus, mainly for the driver. If you're anyone else, it's not needed. You're probably not going to have them. It's not... I don't know if it's a charter bus or not. Now I'm saying it out loud. If it's a nice big charter bus, potentially. But if it's just a normal, like, get around the city bus, potentially not. I haven't really thought of what type of bus it is. I guess the one I've pictured in my image is more charter style bus. So yeah, I suppose it is a little bit seatbelty now I think about it. Where's my image? Oh, no, it's actually more a standard public bus, transport bus. So no, it's definitely no seatbelts. Whoa. Anyway, we do have Garden Terror. I'm opening it up now for this, what may be the last map of the day. We may have a second map still to come. We'll just have a third map, I should say, still to come. We'll have a look at that when we we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I'm just opening things up. We'll be starting in a few moments. And we'll start with Citrus Colored Squash this time, shall we?
The battle begins shortly, heroes.
So, for the side of Citrus Colored Squash, we do have T-Cat on, or T3 Cat on the Falstad Stoic. Or I guess it's technically Storm Stoic, but Storm was the org that they're a part of. Stoic is on the Stukov. Ace is on that Blaze. Mesos is on the Diablo, and Lamort is on the Sylvanas, which we're not getting a Sylvanas sheet at first. Very interesting. Not often you see that happen. But on the other side, we do have Patience of Rhaegar. Leo Rice is on the... I nearly called him Hogger. That's not a Hogger at all. That's a Dahaka. You also see double life on Vivala. Duff McWhalen once again on the Gul'dan, which I'm surprised they let him do that because Gul'dan did very well last time. And Majesty rounding things out on the big scary orc Garrosh. Also, so you're playing Overwatch Fiction. How did that go today? Nice hammer by T-Cat. Just getting a few stacks, I believe. Yes, they are indeed Q Quest. We see Silence coming out under the double life. Which, it isn't actually Silence Build. We are reactive Ballista Spores, which means we're definitely going into more heal style start at least. But we can see if it transitions to the team fight, I can like 1v4 you guys all if you're not careful type of Stukov, which is possible. And TK has been left to deal with 3 people bottom. Things to note in terms of quests, we do only have one quest for the side of Citrus Skull Squash, which is Gathering Storm on the foul start. But we see 4 on the other side of Team Name, which they could have gone Storm Shield and it would have been 5, but apparently Patience doesn't like to have fun on the team. No, I'm joking. It's very much Totem Build is usually the correct choice. We do see Warbreaker Garrosh. We do see camps being picked up, as I'm actually going to zoom out, so we can barely see them both on the corners of the screen. And if I move my mouse over those corners, they're doing a lot. But we can see one picked up, and the other is still on its way. We also see Creative Hunter on Vala. Oh, interesting. We see Tissue Regeneration to Harkins. So going into that tankier build, not the move speed build. And the other thing to note is Gul'dan went the Drain build, which... we're in a position where it's not the easiest for them to drain. Mesos can very much interrupt them if not careful. Not if they use both their buttons like that. There's no more interrupt for Duff McWhalen. But at that point, you're self-rooting to let T-Cat just kill you and slap you silly a little. Oh, Mesos has found Duff McWhalen. More well, Duff McWhalen found Mesos. And level 4s are through first for the side Team Name, but not by much. As you see a nice charge on the Gul'dan. Gul'dan gets cleansed. I think it's Control Shift. Oh. It's not Control F. It's not that. I've just shown a lot of things. I don't know if it actually appears on my stream or not. What is it this time? It is Control Shift. Oh. I do not know. But let's just get rid of that so it's no longer of a way. We do now have a seed coming up. It will be gathered shortly. Ace has started it. Stoic is also contributing to it as well, just giving it good slaps around. Those Stukov auto attacks are so satisfying to listen to. Majesty walks up, gets a nice stun, gets another stack for their quest, or the first stack of their quest. You can see Fro coming on to more, and that is now Majesty in a rough spot. As long as they're slowed, Larmor will be doing that percent damage. Because if someone's slowed, they'll be doing percent damage. And, well, Blaze is very good at slowing people down. That is essentially their whole shtick. They throw oil at people, and they get slower. Thing about getting thrown, Stoic gets thrown in, and they go down. Unfortunate for them, but it does happen sometimes. Nice charge on Blaze. Meso pushing Majesty to a spot away from everyone else. But there is not really too much you can do to step back in currently. Meso's low. Stukov's still another few seconds off from even respawning, let alone being back at the fight. And that objective is found by the side of Team Name. And we see Citrus Skull Squash slowly making their way up to get all that soak and to deal with the Siege Giant's top. Diablo has been left alone bottom, gets peppered down by double life and Duff McWhalen, and will die. For once, I was watching, and unfortunately for the Mesos on the Diablo, that is a little bit unfortunate that I'm on top of it for once. I know it's for once, but it is for once. Right, T-Cat does clear the camp. They're playing very safe. They're not sure where everyone is. Well, at least for Garrosh is. I don't know if Garrosh can necessarily kill someone such as... oh, never mind, they've been found. Very unfortunate Majesty got found like that. T-Cat was more just throwing the Gathering Storm to clear the wave. They may have been doing it to also check the bush, but it looked like primarily it was to clear the wave. We are at minion explosions for the Sylvanas, which does clear things a little bit faster. So we are the more wave clear orientated Sylvanas, but they can use black arrows if they so desire to clear out the camps.
There it is.
There it is. Seed is up and will be cleared out by Citrus Skull Squash, but Team Name is not wanting to let them get it that easily. And Majesty is looking to his channel. Ace is like, why do you think you're allowed to do that? What do you think you can actually... how do you think you can actually get away doing that? Lamorton double lift in a fight to the death up top. But it looks like Double Life was winning that, however, as the auto attack Vala. That attack speed a little bit too much. Oh, nice tongue to Lamort, but excellent interrupt on it, meaning that the tongue is not going to stay like that. We do receive a throw over to Leo Rice. Leo running at Stoic, Stoic having to back out. Patience in the meantime, channeling the objective. Yeah, it looks like we are leaning into the I can kill you style of Stukov, where they are actually quite strong in a team fight. I'm not great at it. I did try it out the other night, and actually I can see how really fun it is. But it's not quite something I have the ability to pull off at the present point in time. And Val's clearing camp. Lamort clearing bottom camp. And that's good. That's a good clear. And we do now see Patience clearing off their own camp. So we're going to have a lot of camps pushing during this objective phase. A lot to deal with. One top, which Ace may have to stay up and deal with, but it is the third seed for the side of Citrus Colored Squash, so they can't take too long. They do need either A, stop Dahaka from coming down and keep clearing, or they need to go down themselves. But they can't let Leo Rice go and them stay. They really need to stay stunned for Leo Rice to make sure they can't escape. Which, while that's happening, we do see Vala goes down bottom. They actually died to one of the Shamblers. There's Ancestral Healing coming out to Rhaegar just before they got Silence Unstopped popped by the Majesty, as they do use Indomitable. Right, throwing out Tinkat does push Majesty back into the middle things, and Dahaka did burrow down, but at that point it's a little bit too late. That is probably the best outcome for Blaze top, where they were able to clear. They held Dahaka there long enough that the fight already went in their favor, and then Dahaka still used the burrowing Brush Stalker anyway. Stalker anyway, and that is a ideal situation for Citrus Colored Squash to be in. They didn't really want to lose anything else, and they didn't. Right, and now we see Lamort clearing their own camp. Blaze clearing bot. Top. I really went to say bot, said top. Went to go say bot, wanted to say top, realizing I was about to say wrong thing, and then said bot instead. Which middle name is now bot blame. And we do see camp cleared out just for objective coming up, and once again we're in a spot where the two... Actually, this is a bit better because we have the two globals facing off against each other. They can both come up at a moment's notice. A little bit harder for TCAT as they do need to be within range to fly, but by no means is it still as awkward as a Blaze slowly walking up or Dahaka waddling up on their own. It looks like Felstad is considering flying now. They're going to clear another wave and then fly by the looks of things. Ace is starting the objective, does realize what's about to happen, throws down some oil, lights it on fire, and will be able to play it safe. Which I don't hate the side of Citrus Colored Squash being a bit more patient with this objective. They don't need to clear it immediately. They can actually wait for Team Name to do it and then push in. But no, it looks like Ace is still got the Shamblers on them. Majesty does corral them. And Leo is going to start channeling, so now we're at the point where we do need to start stalling. Valstad is pushing bot in the meantime, but it may need to be they come back. Nice hit onto Patience. We see the silent circle come down. There's a fly from Valstad. They will be joining the fight. And by this time, Majesty is actually quite low already. Good fear by Duff McWhalen, but we see that is Rhaegar going down first. Valstad, Gus, Double Life, and Leo Rice in the wall. We see Isolation going out onto Blaze, but Blaze knows in the general direction they need to walk. They do charge. It's a nice hit onto the Dahaka. Dahaka uses Burrow, and they are using their Essence, but that, in essence, will be the end of them, and they will go down at the end of that fight. Whew. Rough time for them. And now we're getting an invade. Gul'dan wants it, but Mesos wants it more. And they do now force the team out. All while we do see Vala was poking the camp a little bit. They know they can't quite do anything tricky there. Does cue the objective camp minion instead of the enemy heroes, but they were playing in a position where it was going to be very hard for Double Life to hit anyone. Camp being cleared, good. That wave just slowly went down. Blaze going, you know what, I'm going to tap, get some mana, then go back clear it. We're now into Karma time, so we're just going to have a poke around, do our own thing. We do see camps being picked up. We do see Siege camp being picked up by Duff McWhalen. And we can see Stoic and TCAT starting their own. TCAT is going to half just to see if they can get some resources before this objective. But Stoic by no means is going to be the slowest of camp clears in the world. They can still hit it pretty well. And I should say that Stoic has gone into the more classic heal style Ufa, thank you for following. Yeah, Bossa. Which Randy, I hope you're doing well today. What is it? I hope. Well, I just see Oi Lumber, so I'm like, what? What do you want? No. I hope you're doing well this evening. Actually, we can see that someone's in danger. You see Mesos taking a lot of damage. They did pop spell armor, but 75 soul shield does so much, but look how much they still took throughout that process. But as I said, I do hope you're doing today. Well, today. Yeah, boss. Oh. Good arm went down the back line. Nice tongue onto Diablo. Rise Diablo is looking to go in. They do get out. The Q bounces to them. They get taken down by the Shambler. You do not want to mess around with those Shamblers. However, they at least had Soulstone up, so they will be back earlier. TCAT trying their best to survive as Leo Rice is trying to hit them all while they're isolated. But no, we can see the blow up now. Instant, just short range Wailing Arrow just blowing up that Dahaka. And we can see now the side of Citrus Color Squash has recuperated. They are coming back. They are going to be causing some goddamn issues. Oh, double life halving in a precarious spot. Oh, the Shamblers I think on like 2 or 3 kills at this point. It's one of the higher Shambler kills games I've seen in a little bit. But they're definitely doing well. We can see the objective has been channeled. I saw a Diablo charge underneath, and that is a dead Stukov as they were hit by the silence root of the Stukov, because I awkwardly went to get a drink right as it happened, so give me a moment. Majesty couldn't quite get found by Stoic. Stoic didn't quite hit the W, so it meant they couldn't hit the root as well. Which I love this combination talents of target excision and virulent reaction. Because they both get they have such good synergy with each other, because you're definitely wanting just to blow up one person, and it allows you to do that very effectively. And we just see the side of Citrus Colored Squash just rolling their way up, wanting to open up the lane more and more. Oh, Majesty gets a front onto Mesos. Mesos going, you know what, I actually don't want that. Nice gust on TCAT. TCAT, however, getting horrified back in. They don't have a roll. They will go down. And that's a 1-for-1. It's not ideal for Citrus Colored Squash. Sure, they lost their foul start, but they did at least take out the tank of the process, so they are able to keep pushing a little bit easier than the side of Team Name. Team Name's going to have a rougher defense now. And same about Lamort taking a lot. Oh, not horrified, but APOC barely finding double life. Double life, however, was hit with the ancestral healing, so they will be fine. Nice stun by Ace. Ace is going into that stun build, so it's definitely a lot of damage coming out. Oh, Cleanse coming out. Oh, actually, what did Cleanse? Alright, Purge from Patience went out to Cleanse. However, Gul'dan was stuck in such an awkward spot, they didn't really have much of a choice even with that Cleanse. Very little bit body block to high hell. 16s are now through for the side of Team Name. And this was where it becomes more difficult for both Mesos and Ace. Vala has Manticore. And for those of you who don't know Manticore, it is what tanks like to call a pain in their ass. For those of you who really don't know what it is 5% extra percent damage. It's a 5% hero damage after 3 auto attacks, which, considering how fast Vala auto attacks, can be a lot, which this Vala is auto attacking still 20% faster than typical, because they did go the Gambit at level 1, so they'll still get a decent amount of value off of it. But even with that Gambit talent level, even without the Gambit talent level 1, Manticore is still the most picked talent by a long shot for that tier. Let's see, File starters picking up their own camp. We're just going to hold it over there, because I'm going to quickly have a look at something. What is it? Heroes profile, and I'm going to look at the Vala stats. And we could see some good gameplay by Tesos. Tesos? TCAT. Objective will be coming up top. Once again, we're in a spot where Citrus Colored Squash does want to fight this. They don't necessarily want to give this up, because this is a objective going. This would be a Plant Terror objective going over to Team Name, and you don't necessarily want to give it, but of all timings to give it, this is a decent spot, because you have a lot of high pressed waves. It's not the easiest to get, so you may even go consider, let's give him it, get 20s ourselves, and then just clear. But no, not going to be the case. Nice taunt by Majesty. Patience, however, kind of lost their nerve a little, wasn't patient enough to see it through. You can now see they're going to get stalled. Ace falling just short of Majesty, unable to get the stun onto them. Nice double stun by Garrosh, and that is completion of their quest. Oh, Leo Rice does duck under. We can see double life is getting relatively low. That is 20s coming through. I'm going to quickly look. That is Wind Tunnel picked up, and that is Wind Tunnel on 3 people in the corner. Leo Rice front of all. However, Patience Frost probably going to be the necessary target as Majesty goes down next. That is a good 3 kills for the side of Citrus Colored Squash. And now Duff McWhale and Leo Rice are awkward spot. Leo Rice gets out. Duff McWhalen is halving. T-Cat's not going to love it, however, as they realise actually Gul'dan is still in a good spot for me to hurt them potentially. Which they need to be quite quick with this. That would do it. Duff McWhalen trying their hardest to live. They're nearly soloing T-Cat, but Stukov decides fun's over and helps the team, well, helps him live. Meanwhile, pushing mid, we do see that is going to be an end call by the rest of the team. Just as I find the Vala stats. As we do see now it's going down, I've accidentally scrolled. Leo Rice is going to be seeing if they can slow things down, but it doesn't appear to be the case. Yeah, Magical is like a 3% higher win rate and like a good 70% higher win rate, pick rate than the next talent. We can see Core is going down, Meso Shaw got lower, Stock Shaw also got lower, but that is Core before the rest can rejoin, and that is the second game and the series going over to Citrus Coloured Squash. Well played to them, GG's. GG's to both teams, they both did excellently. Right, I should have done this first. I've gone to the wrong screen. I was meant to go to this one, but... So, in terms of talents, all relatively stand across the board. Interesting we see Gul'dan drain build, especially when you have things such as Blaze, who you don't necessarily want to stand still into. It's a lot of damage coming in, especially with that charge at 13. It is not nice. On that, we do see Sylvanas did go that percent damage early on, which did very much help into Garrosh. Garrosh is a little bit prey when it comes to percent builds, because his tankiness comes from his armor, and anything that can ignore armor, Garrosh not happy about. Let's have a look. Anything else to note? Normal Blaze build, Stukov build is one I very much enjoy when you're kind of doing like a big burst heal style Stukov, or like a lot of healing Stukov, which we'll have a look at in a few moments. Gul'dan was more independent, and I do like the rest of the stuff that was happening. Oh yeah, she did go Cold Embrace. That Garrosh was not allowed to have fun this game is essentially what you're saying here, Randy, wasn't it? Sorry, Yet Boss. Oh, that sounds weird, calling you Yet Boss, so that's not right to me. Randy Newman, you are. In terms of not talents, stats. In terms of stats, we do see Dahaka and Blaze having the most siege for their team, 94k and 117k respectively, and both of them having very equal soak, 14k to 14k. In terms of hero damage, actually Blaze have the most for the side of Citrus Coloured Squash as well, visiting at 36k, but Sylvanas and Felstar not too far behind them on 32 and 33 respectively. Meanwhile, Gul'dan have the most hero damage for team name. Vala not too far behind 32, but then Dahaka was a little bit behind that. And we did see Stukov did a decent amount of healing, and the armor definitely helped with dealing with Vala as well. So I'm going to now throw on over to this screen here, and I'm going to say that I'm actually going to raid one of my New Zealand friends. I know, I do actually talk to other New Zealanders, so I'm going to, provided they're still streaming, I'm going to raid my friend Authenticity. They are a wonderful person who I used to be very close friends with until they moved to another city on another island, which kind of sad, but I used to actually see this person regularly for Dungeons and Dragons, just to show how much of a nerd I am. So I'm going to start the raid to them, but as we can see, it was a 2-0 series to the side of Citrus Coloured Squash. I'll also say this person not Heroes of the Storm if you're only here for Heroes of the Storm content. So, Citrus Coloured Squash did take it 2-0. They took Tomb of the Spider Queen, and what was a pretty good map, and then they were in a very they're in a little bit of a rougher spot here for this one, where they had to constantly manage the waves to make sure they had to constantly be there for the objective because they let 2 get through early on. But they did manage it very well. They got through to the end, and that is essentially all you need if you are the side of them. You just need to make sure the other team doesn't get the plant terrors. You don't need you can give them the first 2 seeds. You just can't give them anything further than that. But that has been it for me this evening. Your host, The Line Bus. I wish you all good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending where you are in the world, because time zones do be very weird. But I'll see you in the Nexus. Goodbye for now, as I nearly pushed the wrong button to close myself out.